Greetings, heroes. Welcome back to another session of Mythia. Thank you for joining us once again as we move forward from Myrbbin's tower. Last session was crazy. The characters found themselves finally defeating Melon, thanks to some cunning on the character's part. But it was Juniper's magic that finally freed the characters from the spell. Isaac found himself in dire straits. Unusual occurrence happened thanks to his attempts to awaken his body while he was a toy. And he found his body got up without him and decided to take matters into its own hands. And was the final boss of the dungeon after all. Now he hangs upside down before an angel who is very upset. Juniper has left the ring downstairs with her toy form. Melon has been transformed and placed in a dungeon down below, and we don't know yet what has occurred with Myrbbin. So, we will return to the characters momentarily, but first I would like to take a look in on important happenings elsewhere in the world. A feathered hand slammed down on the long table. "This is outrageous!" The words of the pirate lord sounded in the silence of the banquet hall. 10 others were privy to her outburst of anger. One of those, sitting at the front of the grand table, was the Pirate King himself, Ronan Ironhand. He was an old dwarf with a wild braided beard and bald head, upon which sat a crown of knotted driftwood. His strong left hand was a clockwork arm, embedded with 3 glowing dwarven runes which glowed blue in the dim light. "Your caution was lacking." His voice rang to every corner of the room as many eyes, some curious, some dangerous, moved between him and the brightly plumed Aarakocra from the Isle of Lies. The beak of the birdwoman spat upon the floor, causing several figures to flinch back, worried about the immediate reaction of their king. Ronan's eyes became hard, but he didn't leap to strike her. Instead, he grabbed at one of the braids of his beard and thoughtfully pulled upon it. "However," he spoke slowly, "these circumstances couldn't have foreseen." Ronan noticed the edge of suspicion in the glances he received. His own brother, Dom, had set out against him, stolen his best pirates, and taken the fastest ship in the fleet. It begged questions that he meant to silence here and now. "I will repay the gold you lost from the crown's coffers, a gift for your years of loyal service. But you must agree to move the treasure to a new hiding location, one which we can both agree upon." His words had to strike just the right tone. If he sounded sarcastic or biting, in the least, he would give up the game. Thankfully, his fate helped him with that. Pollyanna seemed to mull over the offer, then nodded in satisfaction. How did they navigate the island's fate? Everyone should have become hopelessly lost upon leaving the shoreline. As she inquired, the others leaned in to hear the answer. They too obviously wondered the same. "Before she left, Euphemia stole Jordor's compass. I believe its fate could counter the island and give them a way to navigate." Ronan smiled grimly. After all, what more could she want than to steal all the treasure of Mythia? It's her fate. The greedy halfling brat! Now it was his turn to spit. He did feel sick. His mouth tasted awful to speak so ill of his protege, one who he loved like a daughter. But the ruse must work, or he had sent her to her death for nothing. She must succeed where he had failed. He noted Calrock's smile. His sharp teeth shone in the firelight. "What shall we do about this mutiny?" the Dragonborn asked, hoping he knew the answer. Ronan placed his hands on the table and stood slowly. "We will find the scurvy rats and drown them. As of this moment, I am putting a 1 million gold bounty on Dom's head. 100,000 on Euphemia and Bali, and 20,000 on the rest of the traitors. I want them alive, so I can teach them a lesson before adding their skulls to the pile. Inwardly, Ronan grimaced. This was part of the plan, he reminded himself. She could take it. If anyone could steal an empire out from beneath the feet of these evil black-hearted vermin, it was Euphemia. A toast to their imminent deaths! Calrock yelled as they all drank blood-red salt wine and laughed at those foolish enough to turncoat the pirate flag of Ronan Ironhand. We begin back in Alistair's Keep, otherwise known in this day and age as Myrbbin's Tower. The characters have been reverted back to their bodies. Unfortunately, that has done two things. It has left the ring down in the basement of Myrbbin's Tower, and has placed Isaac with a blue flaming sword directly towards his face. Isaac, you look feeling basically yourself. You don't have any inkling of veins crawling through you at the moment. You don't feel sick or nauseous or have any after effects of reverting back into your body. You don't know how you look to the angel before you. But by his face, you do see a change as his eyes drop from wide and ready to curious. Isaac Crowley, I presume.
Isaac will be standing there with his hands like this.
So you are upside down, held by telekinesis.
Okay. I thought
you're held like your arms outstretched.
I thought he was holding me, but I couldn't remember.
Yeah,
okay.
He has you upside down with telekinesis. One hand like with the sword like that, and the other one like this. There is a sort of like a visible like wave sort of circling in his hand that you recognize as the telekinesis spell.
Okay.
He is going to slowly twist his hand and turn you right side up. And then, like, you sort of slowly dip down to the floor and both your feet touch.
Does he release the spell?
Yes, he does. There is a hesitation to him. As he slowly looks at you, the sword flaming, you can hear the blazing fire. It sounds a little deeper, the crackle of the flames, than normal.
As soon as he lets it go, Isaac tries his best to look not intimidated, and he's going to kind of brush himself off and say, I'm glad you've heard of me.
He's going to flip his blue longsword, and as he does so, the silvered handle is going to immediately warp in the air until it is a staff, and he will set it to the ground with a ding that echoes throughout the hallway. He looks back and forth, and then is going to take 2 steps to his right and pick up the Staff of Alton Madsong. He is going to sort of look towards it like he's about to hand it to you, and then seems to look down at it more closely.
As he's doing this, Isaac says, as much as I'd like to play show and tell, there are more pressing matters. June is stuck in the basement and we need to go save her.
He's going to look up at you, and there is a quirk of a smile on his face. He says, Save Jennifer? He's going to hold the staff, kind of like, he has it outright, and then he's going to kind of put his second hand on the base of it. He's going to whisper very quietly, I remember you. Tarak, he says. He states the magic word used to remove the illusion from the staff, and you're going to see the 3 skulls of Alton Madsong's advisors, Valash, Morganth, and Asher. And you're going to see the faces of the skulls can't move. However, you're going to see him turn specifically. Valash, it's been a long time. Zarafen! How are you, old friend? The elf is going to say, It's been a very long time, yes. How is heaven? You hear him say. He goes, It's all right. About the same. How's life? He smiles a little bit scathingly. Well, you know how it is. Seeing the world. Yes, working for a new master now. Asher? Zarafen states. Asher grunts. Fine, hold your grudge, he says. Morganth? Angel? You hear the dwarf say. How long has it been now? A few centuries at least. 10,000 years, Zarafen says. Oh, that long? Well, we've only been in business again for a little while, Morganth says. Yes, business for only a little while. You know how things are, Valash states. Yeah, I think I know. He's going to look up, and you're going to see his eyes lock onto you. Hold on. He hands back the gourds.
Thank you.
He nods.
I didn't know they had any remaining friends.
I don't think they do.
Well put. Would it make this any more expeditious if I told you that June was stuck in the body of a toy?
If you are not, I imagine she isn't either.
Oh. I suppose you're right. Thought maybe I was just lucky.
He nods. Shall we go see them?
Yes. And
Shall
stay
we try
close.
The basement, or where were you originally? Or where were your bodies, should I ask?
Isaac would know immediately. I've forgotten because of...
There was like a billiards room that you were in?
Yeah, that's where our bodies were, right?
Yes.
Okay. And that was towards the top where he had all the dioramas set up?
That is correct, yes.
Okay.
Somewhere in the upper portion of the tower. You're
Okay,
not 100% sure where.
That's where I tell him then.
I know where it is. Let's go. As the two of you head away, somebody else is headed closer as well. Roland, you have appeared in your body, and as soon as you stand up from the floor, you are being leapt upon by Shadow, who is going to give you a couple of kisses.
It's a hazardous occurrence.
Because Shadow was in a little...
He was in his rocking chair.
Yeah, that's right. Did the rocking chair just transform into her?
It seems so.
Okay, so she wasn't in a different thing. Her form was completely transformed.
You imagine that probably the boy couldn't drag Shadow.
Yeah. Okay. That checks out.
Oh, shit. I just realized something I didn't do.
So, the rest of you around Roland are also going to be getting up and avoiding the horse-sized dragon that comes up to embrace its friend. As the two of you step aside, you're going to see Hero sort of put his hand on his noggin, and as he stands up, he's underneath the table and he's going to bonk his head on the top of it. He looks up at it angrily and steps out from underneath. What happened to Melon and Myrbbin? He says.
June looks down at herself and
What about Isaac?
looks at the place that the ring is no longer, and she went, that's foolish. Well, Melon should still be a toy inside that. And unfortunately, Myrbbin is as well.
Hero looks up at the table. It's eye level, the side of the table with him, and the castle spreads out 10 feet on the table. It is a huge diorama. You could easily lay two heroes, one on top of the other, and you wouldn't reach the end of the walls, the parapets. You will also see that all of the toys are still continuing about their everyday activities on the tables around you, but there's very little noise coming from them. The door has been basically thrown off its hinges at this point by the Dark Isaac's thaumaturgy spell, throwing it open.
And my guess is Isaac, possibly his body, I'm assuming he's back in it by now, is still either heading towards the basement or has stopped heading towards the basement.
What was that boom? Hero says.
Did I hear the boom?
You asked about the boom.
Oh, did I?
Yes.
Oh, yeah, and then I realized that it was Zarafen. Okay.
Correct.
She goes, that would be Zarafen.
Yuffie's gonna stand up and shake her head a little bit and look over at Hero, much shorter than he was in his bear form, and look kind of approving, like, yeah, we're of a height again. Excellent.
The Archangel?
Yes.
Why is he here?
I believe you all heard him.
He was the guy in the mirror?
That's
Yes.
a powerful ally. He is an ally.
Of course.
He's going to look over at Roland, and he's going to kind of like you see that he's like connecting, like, Zarafen, that's the guy you trained with. And,
Yeah, Roland's kind of trying to get Shadow off of him and get his gear together because he knows that the kid was playing with his sword.
You find Pearl's Lament has been kicked underneath one of the tables. The sword is right next to you, and you sort of pull it out of the ground. You pick up your shield.
Yeah.
Your armor's mostly on, but you're missing a couple of your breastplate.
Yeah, he's essentially just like trying to find his keys right now.
June, what are you up to?
She will go and retrieve her things.
Yuffie's doing the same.
And get, if Isaac's stuff is not on him, I would get it too.
Okay, you don't see any of Isaac's stuff in here.
Okay. She looks down. Can I see where the toy Myrbbin is?
Like, are you going over to the castle? As you go over to the castle, a piece of it, one of the towers, has been lifted up and placed, down adjacent to on the table. And there, inside of it, is the battle hall that you fought in with the two little broken, feathered bosses and a little Myrbbin toy.
Is it moving?
That seems to be like frozen in place, like he's been paralyzed.
So what do we do? She asks.
Is the kid going to transform back?
Not on his own.
Shadow is going
June
to
just
run
looks
towards the door
chagrined
and
right now.
whip out.
What? What happened?
Shadow runs towards the door and vanishes out of it very quickly.
Gotcha.
Like a bolt.
I'm gonna need to go down to the basements, to the crypts, actually, and retrieve the ring. She sighs. You should go meet up with Isaac and figure out what Zarafen is doing.
Agreed.
She has a vaguely worried expression for a moment, but it passes.
What, that he might have killed Isaac?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know, how it is.
Alright. As Isaac, you and the angel begin to ascend a sort of grand marble staircase with a fine wooden banister ingrained with sort of intricate symbols writing along it. As you, Zarafen is going to sort of like stand on the bottom stair and place his hand on the railing, and the stairs are just going to kind of ripple him upwards. He doesn't actually step off his individual step.
Am I on the
He
stairs
is
when he does
swept
that?
up to, he's like, you haven't stepped upon them yet.
Okay. Isaac thinks. June's probably coming down as we speak. I'm going to wait here. And he sits down on the bottom step.
Okay. All of you, are you guys staying in the billiard room or are you going elsewhere?
By the way. Of you sitting down on that bottom step and then it activating and you're just going,
No.
flying up the stairs backwards. Bouncing occasionally.
I was thinking the same thing.
Tumbling. I think we're actually all heading out to go down the stairs towards where we think Isaac is.
Alrighty.
Also the direction Shadow went.
Yeah, I'm heading down, which happens to be in the direction those went, but I'm actually going to the crypts.
So, as you leave, you're looking at stern stone hallways, spotted with the occasional sealed case, displaying books opened to beautiful pages of ink script. These spellbooks and signed sheets look like they were once the everyday workbooks of Torgath of the Light, the former owner of the tower, and idol to Myrbbin the Wise. They are displayed in the way that one would uphold the icons of a long-dead hero and showcase them to anyone who entered your home. The only view you see is through a narrow pane glass window that looks down on the plateau outside. Otherwise, the dark doors are mostly closed and locked. A testament to a place where few are welcome, but once housed dozens of sages at a bit of time in a bygone age. So as you step out, the hallways are fairly narrow. The carpets are just a slight bit overused, to where you can tell there's like some strings missing from them, but they've been cleaned a few too many times. And Juniper, you fairly well know the layout of Myrbbin's tower and realize that you're in one of the entertainment wings. To head back down towards the hall, you follow in the noise of shadow that you can hear sort of bustling down the hallway.
Continues that way.
You all will find... You were going to say?
Nope, it's okay. Go ahead.
You all will find Shadow, who is adjacent. Her head is sort of like lulled up next to a scratching angel, who is specifically sort of like stroking behind her ear. He's going to look up, and you will see a brightening to his face upon seeing the crowd of you. He is going to give a small nod, and then say, "Looks like I came a little late for the excitement."
Well, you did pose a lovely distraction for the boy.
I'm glad I could do something. Godmother.
Angel.
He says, "So, I know one of your friends. Perhaps you could introduce me to the rest."
I believe you recognize Roland.
I
She
think
smiles.
so.
This is Euphemia and Hero.
She does a bow.
He says, "Greetings." And then he's going to nod towards Hero. You see a little bit of a light play in his eyes when he looks at Hero. "And I recognize this girl," he says, as he's going to kind of like "Grrr," on Shadow, and she's sort of like,
Did you happen to come across one of our other companions down below?
Did you
"Right
kill
behind
him?
me. I don't know what happened to him. I don't make a
She
habit
looks
of
at you.
killing people that often," he says.
Well, I wasn't with him.
"Should I have?"
Hopefully not.
No.
He nods. "Well, it's good to know that your group is getting along." He's going to sort of look back down the stairs. He should have been up here by now. I think he's waiting, although I don't know why.
Not everyone's as comfortable with the stairs as others.
He could have just walked.
It is quite high.
He does have hooves.
I have hooves, I hate stairs.
He says, "So, I imagine we have some catching up to do." He looks specifically towards Jennifer.
She goes, "Indeed. I do need to get back down to the crypts, though. Myrbbin is still a toy." She very quickly catches him up on what happened.
"The book's in the crypt," he says.
The ring is in the crypt. The book is upstairs.
He nods. Actually, the book is also in the crypt.
Oh, is it?
You said
Oh, it
that.
teleported. Yes, she would say that then. My bad. Forgot.
As you turn to go down, walk down the stairs, he is going to just start like individually stepping down the stairwell. He goes, "So, was it the boys' idea to call me, or was it yours?"
The boys.
"So it was luck."
On our part. Not so much his.
He says, "Were we near the end of the danger when I arrived, or was the distraction enough to make the difference?"
Sarah genuinely can't remember.
The distraction made the difference.
Did it?
No.
Okay. She is going to say, the distraction, of course.
He is going to nod. He smiles a little bit. He says, "So, I've heard that there's some rather dire happenings down here.
Quite.
We've done a little bit of research, but I'd like to know what you know."
Of course. Did you get any of my letters?
All of them. Although they were more vague than I would like.
Well, you never know who will intercept.
Speaking of which, I believe your mail person is outside, waiting for you.
Politics?
I don't think you get in.
Not surprising.
Or is supposed to not get in.
Considering the current owner of the tower, I'm guessing the latter.
Well, at least I've delivered my message now. He told me that I had to tell you all to get out of the tower so he could deliver his mail and be gone.
I see. You turned the angel into the messenger.
Rather feisty one, though. He's going to look over towards you, Roland. He says, finally a prophecy. How's it going?
He just kind of looks at Juniper and, doesn't really want to, answer that in front of anyone else.
Okay.
It's fine.
It's going great.
Yeah.
Favorite toys. It's
Totally confident.
So what brought you here?
Oh, we were looking for information, honestly.
From Myrbbin?
From his book.
Did you expect to get it?
It was a possibility.
I guess it's worth a chance.
I mean, it affects him as much as it affects anyone.
True enough.
We were heading this way anyway.
True.
What's in this direction?
I think we all look at June.
She looks at him and she
The
tells
crown?
him. Yeah, she goes, the crown.
How far?
We're not exactly sure. We've already retrieved one piece.
Where is it?
Where did we put it?
So,
We gave it to-
we did not specify. However, I have considered these options. The best place to probably put it on the ship would be in the secret cannon hole, and then bring the cannon up for display on the deck and keep it there for the most part. So
Okay,
big
so
enough
it's
to keep
on the
it.
ship. That's what I need now. She goes, we left it on the ship for the time being.
He says, the ship.
Yuffie's ship. Yuffie's a pirate.
She gestures a little to her hat,
Really?
He says,
This is Captain Euphemia. My apologies, Euphemia.
Thank you.
I'm afraid I'm not familiar with the ship still.
She looks at you and just gestures.
My outrunner. It's a distance from here right now, but
You're the captain of the Outrunner.
yes, I am.
June looks at his face and just raises an eyebrow.
Rafe generally knows more about the outer seas even than Juniper.
Mm-hmm.
He keeps a very close eye on the pirates, and he kind of has a fondness for knowing how ships are passed down, the history of such things. So he probably knows who used to own the Outrunner, and probably finds it funny that Femi owns it now.
Gotcha.
Considering it was one of Ronan's flagships, it was probably one of the pirate lords.
Mm-hmm.
Are you a fan of ships? She asks.
I am, yes. Although not all ones that go on the sea.
Well, the outrunner's versatile.
He nods. Very light.
Indeed.
It's going to be tough with all these heavy tin cans coming onto your ship, he says, pointing at Roland with a slightly sarcastic smile.
I don't take up that much space.
He says,
He's worth the trouble, she says.
good to know.
How do you know each other?
We met in a graveyard, Zarafen
Oh.
says.
When I was real little.
What is it with angels and graveyards? She says under her breath.
Well, when people die, you need to watch over them.
Also, there's not that many people there in the middle of the night.
There's
I was
that.
training his ally, Leslie Lightwarden. The only place we could do so without her mother getting upset was in the resting place near Gary.
I'm familiar with it.
And I was hanging out with Hero's grandpa.
Father.
Father. I forgot that. I always misgauge exactly how quick their generations pass,
It's
and I'm
really
like,
sad.
I'm
Hero's
glad it's
going
slightly
to-
less than you think.
Hero
Yeah.
sort of looks a little odd to even be brought into the conversation specifically, but he's going to look up and you see him sort of brim with a sort of bright, melancholy smile towards Roland.
But you've not met Hero before today.
He says, "I've not had the pleasure, I'm afraid. Was it? Might be a hero, right?" Yeah, it's kind of worthless, Hero says. He's going to not say anything. I think you're the first person to tell me not say maybe not. Hero sort of awkwardly jokes. It doesn't come off great, and Zarafen just sort of nods towards him. So, as a minor note before we get everybody together, you all had gained a chaos for sheer time passing while in your toy form, so you were at 6. However, you all lost 1 chaos for freeing the queen, which was a challenge. You all lost 1 chaos when you dealt handedly with Dark Isaac, and you all lost 4 chaos, my maximum allotment for my original plan for the tower. So you have lost all 6 chaos. So you're actually starting at the beginning of a fresh 5-day with 0 chaos.
That feels amazing.
Yay!
That does feel good.
In addition, you have added your points.
I did.
Okay. You are standing with the staff in hand when you're suddenly going to hear... you're going to see the illusion on the staff of Ultimatum melt away. And you will see the 3 skulls of their own accord have decided to come out, which has not happened in a very long time, like at least 3 years. You're going to see Valash jiggle on the end of his nail through his skull.
Ugh.
Says, Isaac, you must be cautious around the angel. He can sense lies and see the illusion.
Is that not the case with all angels? What are you trying to warn me of?
This one, we expect, is responsible for the death of the prior master.
Is that so?
We
Is it just...
imagine, Asher says, that he was the creator of the bomb. The bomb that blew up Betmorth's lair.
Oh. Okay. Why did you not tell me this sooner?
We were sworn to silence, Morgan says, by a long dead oath.
And that oath just ended now.
No. However, we are also sworn to protect the one who wields us, the dwarf says. We made a judgment call, Valash says. Your life is more important than that of a long-dead king. Zarafen will try to control you, Asher says. It is his nature.
Isaac will kind of swoosh the skulls around and go, "It is not my first time dealing with angels. I would like to see him try."
Last time, you were easily manipulated, Valash reminds you.
Maybe so, but he was a friend. It's different.
He says, a questionable choice.
Isaac's going to take the staff and hit it on the ground and command them to go back to their illusion.
You all see Isaac waiting as a dark slice in the hallway downstairs. And he just stands almost completely still. You're going to see...
Yeah, I thought he was sitting on the steps.
He was chilling out sitting on the steps.
He was all Charlie Browning on the bottom of the stairs.
Charlie Brown is not a verb.
Apparently it is now.
All right. So, you all will see Isaac. Isaac, if you're... Are you sitting or are you standing?
We'll go with your description.
You sound cooler.
You see your allies. What? Do you say anything, or you just wait for them to reach the bottom of the stairs?
I wait for them to reach the bottom of the stairs.
Okay. That happens very fast. As the moment Shadow sees you, she's going to bolt down and run up towards you for scritches.
Has she done that during our time on the boat?
No, not really.
Isaac will be taken aback for a moment, and then you see one of his arms come out from beneath his robes and pet her head like this.
Yeah, there's still a visceral pang of panic when something that large and with that much spines and teeth runs towards you. But it's kind of have like an association with something, sort of non-violent. And as your hand sort of, you have great nails for this.
Oh, yeah.
So she is,
That's perfect.
she loves it.
Good for scripting.
Mm-hmm.
As you all see Isaac, is there any chatter?
Isaac, are you alright?
I'm fine. Your friend is much nicer than I thought he would be.
Good to know.
When she gets to the bottom, she goes, any idea what happened?
No.
Her eyes are not looking at you, they are looking at your chest, by the way.
Isaac kind of like tucks his robe over himself and says, all sorts of crazy things happening in this tower. It's probably something Melon did to me.
She just raises her eyebrow because she knows you're bullshitting.
Oh my god.
I do need to know something. What color?
Let's go with red.
Okay.
I remember that now.
Your eye color?
Got it.
Yeah.
You guys see that his eyes are a bright red at the moment.
And they're usually white?
They're usually just like all white, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to your eyes, if you will ask?
Is there something wrong with my eyes?
They're red.
June, do you have a mirror?
So
She reaches
you
down.
are totally aware of this effect.
Oh, I am?
It has been, you've been with it for years. You are actually able to change it at
Okay.
She does pull out a mirror, though, and she holds it up.
He'll hold it up to his face. I guess he's going to pretend to be taken aback.
Please roll a deception check, sir.
Where's my deception? There it is.
Oh.
23.
No.
No?
She's right through your shit.
Icicle.
25.
Oh man, just barely beat me.
That's crazy.
Must
She doesn't
be
say anything, though. She just looks at you. She's the only one close enough that you would see her expression.
He hands back the mirror. Oh, okay, so he knows you saw right through him.
Oh,
He
yeah.
says,
But she did not share it with the rest of the group.
must be a side effect of what's happening in this tower. So he hands it back. Oh, speaking of which.
Awkward.
So, just for future, you can literally shift your eye color.
Okay.
Just whenever you-
Yeah,
while
but that
we're
one was real
here,
suspicious.
after we get that ring, are we going to free Myrbbin?
That was the intention. Although, it wouldn't hurt to have a look at the book first.
Yes. At least as a reward for all we've been through in here.
Zarafen's going to sort of raise an eyebrow towards Juniper very discreetly. He gives a small eye roll in your direction, but it's almost non-existent. He goes, so, as you take a look at your spoils, I would love to have a chat, he says, towards Roland.
Shall we go back up?
Oh, heavens, no, it's down.
Oh.
You ever like retroactively remember something role-playing wise that would have been really cool?
Oh,
always.
all the time.
Zarafen is going to move towards Roland as Juniper, you head towards the ring in the book. Femia, Isaac, what do you guys do?
Yuffie will follow June.
Isaac, do you stay with Zarafen and Roland and Hero, or do you go with Yuffie and June?
I go with Yuffie and June.
Got it.
And Hero staying with Roland and Zarafen.
Yes.
Okay.
As Zarafen comes towards you, he's going to like sort of notice that Hero has sort of come up with like this almost like puppy dog expression, like he wants to be part of the conversation too. He goes, so, where do you hail from? To Hero. Oh, Gantherin, he says. You're a long way from home, Zarafen says. Yeah. The first time. So, you've come a long way. How are things going? You didn't seem enthused.
Yo, Hero, can we get a minute alone?
Yeah,
Oh.
sure, he says, and he's going to kind of turn away. I'll head after Damn.
Yeah, I'll catch up in a second.
Shadow is going to, be following at the very tail end of you guys, and then he's going to kind of whip back and pick Hero up, and he's going to kind of trundle off after them, hanging on to Shadow's flank. Things aren't going well. I take it.
Weird shit with fate.
He nods. So I've heard. Have you had any explicit weirdness?
It's just, it's feeling different, it's working different, and I feel like it could go out, and then it really makes me wonder what I'm doing here. But, I don't know.
I think, regardless of your own fate, the power of the prophecy is stronger than any individual fate. If it has called you, it is very likely that whatever happens upon this quest may be planned. However, I'm not going to tell you that the prophecy is incapable. We don't know what's happened and how quickly it's happening. Our calculations say that we have about 2 years.
Before it's...
You knew this.
So,
I don't
June's
know, did I know it
calculations
was that?
said 1 year.
Oh, because June told them before oh yeah, because she was not telling you the truth about
Because of the
anything
meeks.
Because of the meeks.
Mm-hmm.
Forgot about that.
We thought it was going to happen sooner.
We're fairly sure of 2 years. He says that's when the most basic functions start breaking down.
Okay. Makes me feel a little better. I've been feeling like my days are numbered right now. So it's good to know it's a little bit longer than that. But...
So we'll have to do this a little bit like an experiment. Since I'm not 100% sure how your fate works, we're going to have to go through observations. What can you tell me about it right now? What did you tell
Have I
Zarafen?
ever told him about the other, or was Harper one of the only ones who really knew, other than?
You have never told Zarafen about the other.
So.
Do you describe the other?
Yeah, he kind of explains that it kind of manifested right around the time when I met Zarafen.
Tell me what you don't share.
I kind of describe how the other worked, and then that the other is acting different now.
Okay. You all head downstairs. Juniper, you walk once again into this sort of beautiful single coffin crypt. You all enter and see a glass case with a coffin inside and fresh roses laid upon it. A sort of fairly sanctimonious room. Jennifer, you pick it up and the book flies up to greet you.
Send all of us back to the entry hall, or wherever they are.
You all appear back in the entry hall, maybe 10 feet away from Zarafen and Roland, and you hear Zarafen say, "Bound," and then he's going to turn. You could have warned us.
She just kind of goes, "My apologies."
So, you found it?
I did. Care to have a look?
What all can we do with it?
He'll walk towards you.
She has a fairly impish grin on when she says that, by the way.
You might be able to find some answers. Zarafen says, "You have the ring."
She has it float before her, and then she will control it to start looking through it. Do I have to say it out loud for what I'm looking for, or can I just concentrate on it?
You can merely concentrate.
She concentrates.
What do you look for?
She's looking for anything to do with what happened, like the breaking of fate, like all of that.
You're going to see the book go shut.
Well, that was not helpful. Then she's going to look for the fragments of the crown.
Doesn't open. Oh no. It opens to a very early page, and you see a diagram, a very beautiful pencil drawing. It looks maybe scratched in charcoal. It's a very intricate description of the Anjasi. It has the crown, but it's like the whole crown, not like a shard or fragment. And you will see the Dragon of Fate. It has a couple of small notes in there. It actually explains a couple of his artifacts that you didn't see when you were there, but it does have like the scalpel, and it has like some small descriptions of what he calls fate shearing, and
I have ghosts, didn't tell you that.
That's fine.
But it's mostly a lot of anatomy stuff. It also has like a little crystalline beetle adjacent to like show size.
She says she wants to see the most recent entry.
All right. You are going to flip to what looks like a well made of lines. A bit like if you had a little kid try to draw like a black hole.
Okay.
And it's
The
about
most
nature of
recent
time.
Myrbbin entry.
That is.
Oh,
the most
okay.
recent Myrbbin entry.
Oh, he has poor drawing skills then.
So he only draws his dreams.
Oh, yes.
It's something about the nature of time. It's sort of being in sheets. Quite metaphysical, temporal stuff.
She's just going to start skimming backwards and reading the pages as she goes.
All right. You are going to see something that catches your attention. You will see a picture of Uthgael, the Venomous.
Okay.
You stop?
Yes.
As you stop on the picture of Uthgael, you are going to see a very detailed drawing of the monstrosity. A couple of descriptions about the methods with which he consumes dragon flesh. Its general hunting territory, which is massive. It takes up most of the center of the four forests. Additionally, it shows a picture that's sort of on the other page of the Woodguard. His sort of big, bulky construct with these, this like huge, like massive two-headed hammer with a boulder basically as the hammerhead. It also has a couple of more alarming notes in here.
Such as?
There is a small descriptor. The nature of the creature is somewhat lich-like. There is a secret tree within the woods. That tree is actually Uthgael, a fated object meant to reincarnate the form of the hunter.
She nods.
The book does not describe where the tree is.
Does it specify which woods?
It does not.
Worth a try.
However, it is thought that the Woodguard's fate, when he kills the creature, it takes significantly longer to reassemble itself.
Gotcha, so it's probably already re-established itself by now, with us killing it.
You believe that may be the case?
Oh, no.
She was afraid of that. She wasn't positive, but she kind of was guessing, so she just kind of sighs, nods, and continues.
There is a little, in quotations, the lair of frogs. That is the hideout of Uthgael.
Continues her fast reading.
You're perusing?
Yeah.
Um,
Is Zarafen also looking over her shoulder?
Yes. Is anybody else doing so?
Yes.
Yeah,
I will warn you, it's probably really disconcerting to read along with June because she literally just looks at a page and turns it, looks at a page and turns it.
So Yuffie several times probably happened to be like, wait.
She goes, "You're very slow reading, I'm sorry."
I am an excellent reader. She sounds actually kind of offended about her reading being questioned.
She pauses and she goes, I did not mean to infer that your
go
actual
on,
reading
just
is slow. I'm simply saying that compared to me, you cannot read that fast.
You could have read a few
So I'm
pages
not
during
even
that.
trying to read.
You're right. And she says, I did, actually.
She just looks askance at you.
That's rude. Zarafen says.
She goes, she just continues.
There is a lot in here that is very cerebral, not like practical necessarily. A lot of it's like high-end, cutting-edge science, but has very, very small practical value. Like a new kind of way to mix elements to make a specific potion. And the potion does something that's nice for like home cleaning, but isn't really like applicable to your journey. Well, another thing that you do see as you're looking through the book is a picture of 10 bottles.
Stop there.
Oh, he's familiar, Yuffie says.
You will
Yes.
see 10 bottles, the gnome, who has been drawn in sort of lifelike detail with a sort of shadowy figure placed behind him. This states pretty definitively that 10 bottles is going to visit Myrbbin. It says here within 20 days. And it also states that he is a bound.
That's interesting. She looks up at Zarafen.
Controlled almost entirely by the bound. Basically, he has no free will at all. Zarafen's going to look down.
That explains a bit.
It has the riddle that he gave you in here.
Does it have the answer?
It does not.
That would be too easy.
Otherwise, in your flipping through the book, there is nothing in the book directly related to your quest that you can infer. There's a bunch of stuff, and maybe one of these has to do with the quest in a way that he didn't explicitly write down.
Okay. Well, you know how she reads, so
I do, yes.
I'll leave it to you to see if she.
There's a
finds
lot
it.
of very interesting, pushing of theoretical science in here.
Okay, she's not being curious right now. She's just being.
Okay, even reading 1 page a second, basically, it would take you a year to read this book.
That's fair.
Yuffie just gives up at some point and just
This has had several pages written in it a night for 120 years.
Yeah, you do know she's getting faster as she goes because she's also getting kind of impatient.
So you have flipped at least 2,000 pages at this point, and you're still at the same point in the book. The book's pages are not getting any less on this
Is
side.
the book huge, or is it just magically pull up
It is
pages as
magically
in?
infinite and huge.
Okay.
The book is like that wide, roughly. My shoulder span, a little bit more than that.
She looks at the group. Do any of you have any specific things you wish to ask the book?
what all
Whether-
can it tell you? She asks.
What he dreams of?
Is it sometimes the future?
Sometimes.
I would like you to make a straight intelligence check for any additional secret information that may be helpful.
14.
So it does have an interesting note in the book. There is a picture of Pallet in the book, and it has the plates of her armor sort of separated in a three-dimensional diagram of her, and it has a picture of her heart in the book that has been like drawn in explicit detail. And by this picture, it looks like darkness has wrapped around her heart.
Ooh.
It explicitly says she is not turned adjacent to the picture.
June does pause for a moment.
Retains personality. Strength of will? Question mark. Or disease.
June looks up anything about her. Just to check.
Be smart to look for
You
all
say
of us.
Jennifer?
She doesn't say anything. She's thinking it.
Okay. Then you will see... Literally the very beginning of the book is going to be flipped to, like, page 2. And it is
She is very fast on this part, and you've already lost your attention, so it's just her and Rafe right now, right?
I
did
don't know.
wait.
Are any of you perceiving this?
She's watching, but she's given up trying to read it because
I
she
would
can't
probably
keep up.
notice the book going to the beginning.
You will see... So your name is mentioned once, written in the margins. It is explicitly a list of your family members, but the picture is of your father, King Bramble.
Mm-hmm.
Is written like at the top of the page, and it has a very detailed picture.
Okay. She just very quickly reads it and flips the page.
At the
She's
base,
not showing any particular emotion when it looks like it. She just looks like she's still flipping.
it says "deceased by darkness" at the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
That's all.
But it has nothing specific about her other than that.
No.
Okay. Godmothers. Excellent. I worked very hard for that.
Are we in there? Yuffie asks.
She looks up her.
What do you say?
Euphemia car.
It is going to flip. Hang on one sec. I gotta get it.
If you ask Isaac, he does not ask you to look him up.
Too bad she's already doing it. She said it, and now she's like, okay.
If
Yeah,
you do it
so he
silently,
knows.
he can't stop you, but... At least it's only you looking.
It is going to flip to a picture of Jordor Blackhand, a small, intimidating halfling man, with a
Jordor what? I'm sorry.
Blackhand.
Thank you.
With a and he is looking sternly at Jordor's compass, his own compass. And it says, there's like a tiny little note in the margin that says, "Now in the hands of Euphemia."
Is that all that's in there?
That is all.
Okay.
However, the name Carr does have a long lineage in here. One of them, by this, was a guardian to the last true queen of Aragon.
Yuffie just nods slightly when she sees that.
She did slow down specifically for you. At this point, she didn't just flip, because you did ask her, so she very specifically just stops and lets you read.
Moretta Carr is the name of that person.
What does she have of Jordor Blackhand? I'm sorry.
The compass.
Thank you.
Jordor, it says, deceased at age 122.
Anything about me other than the really bad thing?
The really bad thing?
Okay.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. Looks up him.
Well, on Tarkan?
I mean, you're kind of obvious, but I'm curious to know if there's anything unknown.
So Roland has like a section. It's got literally an entry for every weapon and piece of armor he wears. It shows the plate mail that he has. It has like a picture that may be important to June of the Tarask. And
She does pause for a fraction of a second and then continues.
It shows a little plate, like a little view to the plates of the Tarask scale, and then it shows the man, Griswold, who forged the Tarask scales into his breastplate. It has the blade of Jerem. It shows Captain Jerem, who eventually was made a lord, 7 centuries ago, in the beginning of the Age of Heroes. He was the former champion steward of Garen before Torgath the White.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got a picture of his greaves.
Okay, June gets tired of looking at his weapons at that point, and then continues on to Isaac.
Did you tell me what it was? What was in there?
Were you looking interested?
He just asked her across the room.
She goes, "It has a very detailed listing of your armor."
It's boring.
A little bit.
Cool. He literally walks out of the room.
There is additionally an entry for Shadow.
Oh, is there?
Yeah. It literally is a picture of a shadow dragon, and it says tame. That's it.
Okay, him.
Isaac?
Yep.
There's a bigger entry on his father than there is on Isaac.
Oh, interesting.
Shows the Crowley family sigil. And actually, even more so than Isaac's father, Jacob, there is a much bigger entry on the first escapee of Isaac's family, whose name was Crowley. That was his only name. The devils didn't have 2 names. And basically has a description of his climb out of the pit. That he scaled the wall with broken and busted nails.
She
2
says,
spikes they used to climb the wall.
She tells Isaac, there's an interesting portion about your family history.
My family history?
Oh, yes, and
I'll
I
come
do
take a
mean
look.
the very beginning.
What?
So it looks like your ancestor several hundred years ago basically ripped 2 spikes that were used to decorate the lip of a very large demon and used them to scale the wall of the pit to get out.
That's sick. I love it.
That is sick.
That is really.
Also, I love the term escapee.
Yeah. The first escape.
Nothing about him specifically, though?
It does state in here, although Crowley did not escape due to the slyness of his race that usually accompanied their exodus, he himself was adept at lying.
Okay, but I'm asking about Isaac specifically.
No, there's nothing for Isaac.
Okay. On a whim, she will look up Might Be a Hero, but she doesn't believe that's there.
There's nothing for
Just as a quick impish aside, she thinks it's Zarafen.
Yes, there is a picture of Zarafen. There is a picture of both his staff and his sword. And it has a little arrow crossed between them to suggest that they are one and the same. And it has a intricate detail picture of his halo around his head. And it has all the little... It's a silver band that floats around his head, and it has a bunch of symbols on it of different organizations. And it has has it turned, and it shows all the organizations on it. There's 32.
Yuffie asks, what about Satan's hand?
Thinks it.
Yep, it has very large entries on a lot of members of Satan's hand.
Yuffie explicitly says anything about weaknesses.
Anything we don't know.
There's a bunch of members that haven't come up in the story yet that has information about them, but I'm not going to go through all of them.
Sure. Anything that specifically June doesn't know, because June can always fill in things for us.
So
If
a
she
lot of these
chooses.
are background and history. These aren't diagrams to help you fight them. These are historical figures, important people because they're ascended.
And she goes, nothing specifically helpful.
There might be jail
Unfortunate.
time or a specific terrorist act that they're responsible for in here, but that's usually pretty well known.
Did he have any dreams about escapees from the prison?
There is a thing in detail about the Ilium in here, but there is nothing about
Okay.
this modern
I was
stuff.
going for more modern at the moment. I'm
No.
seeing if anything recent happened, which is why I was trying to go from the back. Okay. She shrugs and says, "Oh, did my int check get me anything?"
Yes, I already gave it to you.
She shrugs and says, "I think that I can't think of anything else to get from this." She glances up at Zarafen.
He says, "So, shall we give it back to its rightful owner?"
"Yes, of course. I intended to the entire time.
He gestures towards the stairs.
I also know Myrbbin."
Perhaps he'll be grateful.
I doubt it.
All right, you guys
She
head up.
steps up to this. Actually, she goes, "Why are we bothering walking?" She teleports the whole group. She goes, "Does anybody not wish to come?" Nobody said anything. Teleports the entire group up to where the castle thingy is.
Roland was in the other room,
Oh,
When you asked that-
you just come?
so he will teleport and be like, "Okay." Did not consent to that.
All right. There is a visible fluctuation in space.
Here, she just kind of forgot.
There's a visible fluctuation in space as you see like shadows sort of try to warp in, and then finally it sort of connects with her and she jumps into space. But it has difficulty handling that many people. We will go ahead and take a pause right there for a moment, noble heroes, and we will be right back with you. And we will see what Myrbbin has to say, if anything at all. Have a good night.